Have you ever wanted to learn to solve the Rubik's Cube? It's not a hard thing to do, but it is a little challenging to explain. There are numerous ways to solve a Rubik's Cube, and this is just one. You can also use this method to solve the 3x3 cube, even though I will be using a 5x5. The most complicated thing to understand or explain is how to look at the cube. So let's get started. I guess the first thing to learn is how to tell what color each side of the cube is going to be. If you look at the center square or block of any given side, the color of this square or block is the color that side is going to be. This is the same for the 3x3 cube as well. For example, if the center square or block is red, this side is going to be red. If it is green, it is going to be green. If it is yellow, it is going to be yellow. And so on, and so on. This never changes. So if I tell you to look at the blue side and your cube is scrambled, just look for the center block or square that is colored blue and you will be looking at the blue side. Now that we know what color each side of the cube is going to be, we need some way to know what side of the cube we are looking at. This comes into play when we start to solve the cube, and only because I need some way to tell you which part of the cube to turn and which way to turn it. So let's try this out. If you don't understand this right away, go back and listen closer. I will try to explain it as best as I can. First off, I like to look at the cube with it at an angle like this. It's a little confusing, but it comes from learning how to solve the 3x3 cube. What we are going to do is name each side of the cube and give it a letter to describe it. Then later we will learn more about each part of those sides and give them names too. Then we will learn the names for the directions we will be turning those parts. Now, if you're still with me, look at your cube at an angle like this, and we will get started. The colors don't matter just yet, but you can match them up the same as me. It may help you to understand this method later. Alright now, the side I have my thumb on, or the red side, is the side I like to call the front, or F side for short. You will learn why later. The side I have my pinky on, or the yellow side, is the right or R side. The blue side is the up or U side. The side of the cube that is the opposite of the yellow or R side is the left or L side. In this case it happens to be white. The side of the cube opposite of the red or front side is the back or B side of the cube. In this case it happens to be orange. And the opposite side of the blue or up side is the down or D side of the cube. In this case, it happens to be green. This may make more sense if we turn the cube like this. Now you can see why we call the sides of the cube up or U, down or D, front or F, back or B, left or L, and right or R. The reason we use the U, D, F, B, L, and R is so I don't have to write as much and you don't have to read as much. So now that we know the names of the sides, we need to know the parts of those sides so you will know what I am doing when I write it out on the screen like this. We know that U means the top or upper side of the cube, but on the 5x5 cube there is a row of blocks just under this side, as well as on every other side of the cube. I call this the extra slice, or S for short. So if you see the letters US on the screen, this means to turn both of the upper two slices at the same time. This works the same for every other side of the cube. For example, if I say right slice, you will be turning the right side along with the second row or slice next to it like this. The same would be true for the letters DS, or down slice, which would mean you turn the two bottom rows or slices like this. The same is true for the letters FS, or front slice, and LS, or left slice, and so on. Okay, now we know the names for the sides, and what their parts are called. To begin solving the cube, we need to know which way to turn those parts, and there's only two ways to turn them: clockwise and counterclockwise, or verted and inverted as I call them. This may be where you get confused again, but this is the same for the sides as well as their slices. If I say U or up, I mean to turn the up side clockwise. The same goes for US, which means to turn the upper slice clockwise. But if I say UI or up inverted, this means to turn the up side counterclockwise or inverted. For example, if you see the letters RSI on the screen, this means to turn the right slice inverted or counterclockwise. Now I guess I need to tell you that 1 turn equals 1/4 turn. If you need to turn the side or slice more than that, it will be spelled out. For example, if you see RSI, RSI, you need to turn the right side slice inverted or counterclockwise 2/4 turns. The same goes for UU or up up, which means you need to turn the up side 2/4 turns clockwise, and so on. So with all that out of the way, we can begin to solve the cube. But first mine needs to be scrambled. And now that we both have a scrambled cube, we can begin. For those of you who want to do the 3x3 cube, just sit back until I say you can join in. The 5x5 cube has a couple of extra parts that you don't need to know to solve the 3x3. In other words, if you can do the end of this solve, then you can solve the 3x3 cube as well. To start the 5x5, we will solve these center 3x3 cubes. That's right, there's a 3x3 inside of the 5x5, but to solve this 3x3, we need to know more moves than the ones for the original 3x3 cube. They aren't hard moves, and they don't have much to do with the up, down, left, right sides of the cube. All you need to know is what color the side you are working on is, and we already went through that. The other thing you need to keep in mind is that we will be making sets of 2 and 3 blocks on other sides of the cube, then moving them to the side of the cube that they belong on. This sounds harder than it really is. I will show you how to make these sets of 2. Then we will move on to sets of 3. First, start with the center block of the white side, then turn it into a stack of 2 like this. Then look on the other sides of the cube. When you find a white block, turn it into a stack of 2 as well, like this. But you don't want to turn the blocks you just stacked, so turn that side of the cube to move those blocks out of the way, so to speak, like this. Once you have a stacked pair of blocks, you need to move them to the right side of the cube like this. This will create a stack of 2 by 2. Do this one more time, and you should have a stack of 3 by 2, like this. Now to create the final 3 by 1 stack on another side of the cube, you will need to move the blocks you just stacked out of the way, the same as before, like this. This looks hard at first, but it will get simpler over time. If you can solve the white center 3 by 3, you can do the rest of the center 3 by 3s with just one more trick. We will now solve the opposite side of the cube, the yellow side. You will use the same idea as before, creating stacks of 2, then the stack of 3. First I will solve the yellow 3 by 2 stack like this. And then I will create a stack of 3 by 1 on one of the scrambled sides like this. Now to put them together without destroying the work we did on the white side. Use this little trick. It may not be clear at first. If you don't understand it, go back and watch it again. First, line up this line so it will take the place of this line here when you turn it like this. Then turn the yellow or upside all the way around 2/4 turns and put that yellow line back on the top or upper side of the cube like this. If you did this right, the white and yellow sides should now have a 3x3 square solved in the center. If you understand this, you can do the rest easy. First, start with the red side using the same movements. Then move on to the green side. When you come to the blue and orange sides, they kind of work together. But if you use the same tricks, it's not that hard. Once you have done all of the center 3x3 squares, you can move on to the edges of the cube. This is a little more involved, but it's really not that hard. You just need to play with it for a while. About the time it takes to solve the edges of the cube, then you should understand how it works. First, look for an edge piece that is in this position, the lower left front edge piece. It doesn't matter what color you use for the front, just keep track of this lower front edge piece, while you look for the center edge piece that matches it, like this one. Now move the center edge piece to the upper back side of the cube like this. Now that these two pieces look the same, turn the front inverted once and the upper side 2 turns. Then turn the front clockwise 1 turn. Now look at this piece in the lower right front edge and find the center edge piece that matches it. Now put it in the same upper back position as the last piece. Just remember that the color you see here should end up on the top or upper layer here. We are now set up to match 2 sets of 2 edge pieces. Just do this set of moves. Down slice, right, up, right inverted, down slice inverted. And as you do this, you should not only see how the pieces move into place, but how the parts you already solved are moved, then moved back. If you don't see how this works, do this over and over again and it should make more sense. Repeat this process to finish the rest of the sides. Just try to keep a set of 2 edge pieces on the upper left front position like this. Now just repeat this until all the sides are done. But wait, there is a situation you may run into where these 2 pieces are unsolvable like this. One goes here, while the other one goes here. This is called a parity, and this is just one parity that you can run into while solving the cube. If you do run into this problem, just do this little set of moves 4 times with the parity in the front position like this. Down slice, back, back. And then match the rest of the edge pieces the same way as before. It should work this time. Now that we have all of the edges solved, we can solve it like a 3x3 cube. For those of you with the 3x3 cube, you can jump in now. Just remember that the corners of the 5x5 cube are the same as the corners of the 3x3 cube. And the center 3x3 squares on the 5x5 are the same as the center blocks on the 3x3. This makes these 3 edge pieces of the 5x5 the same as the center edge piece on the 3x3. Now with that out of the way, we will start by solving the green cross. Flip the cube so that the green side is in the up position. Solving the green cross isn't that hard. I believe that any person can do it even if they are not trying to create a green cross. So this part is going to be up to you to figure out. I will only tell you that you should only be turning the sides of the 5x5. Do not turn any slices at this time. And that I like to start by matching the green and red sides first. Work from there. Don't worry about the corners yet, they will come later. As for the corners, once again, I will only give you a few hints. First, put the corner in the right spot. Don't worry about the way it is flipped. Use this set of moves to flip it if needed. Right inverted, right, down. Do this until the piece flips the right way. Basically, you will need to solve the green side all on your own. The reason being, I have seen even small kids solve one side of the cube, so anyone should be able to do it. Once you solve the green side, flip the cube so that green is in the bottom position and blue is in the up position like this. Now this is where I believe that most people will need help for not only solving the 5x5, but also the 3x3 cube. Look for a set of pieces like this that need to be flipped to one of the side edges like this. If you are flipping it from the upper front edge position to the front right edge position like this, use this set of moves once. Up, right, up inverted, right inverted, up inverted, front inverted, up, front. If you are trying to flip the piece from the upper right edge position to the right front edge position like this, use this set of moves. Up inverted, up, front, up, right, up inverted, right inverted. You really only need to remember one of these sets of moves, because you can do it twice to position the blocks the way you need them. At first, this won't make much sense, but it works every time, and it will make more sense the more you do it. Repeat these steps until all the side edges are solved like this. Now we will solve the blue cross. Don't worry about the edges of the cross at this time. Just keep working until the blue cross is formed. When you start, I want you to look at the cube with the red in the front position, yellow in the right, and blue in the up. Now turn the up side until you get it to match one of these three pictures. Trust me, it will match one. Then repeat this set of moves, front, right, inverted, up inverted, front inverted, until you have a blue cross. The corners and the sides of the cross don't need to match just yet. The next step will be matching them up. Now we can move on to the edges of the cross, but we need to keep everything we accomplished so far intact, including the blue cross. So we need to set up the cube for another set of moves like before. So look at the cube with the red in the front position, yellow in the right position, and blue in the up position. Turn the up side of the cube until the red and blue edge of the cross is solved like this. Now do this set of moves. Right, inverted, up, right, right inverted, until the yellow side is solved like this. Now if the other edges of the blue cross aren't solved like this, turn the cube so that white is in the front position and red is in the right position. Then repeat the last set of moves one more time. Now you just need to turn the up side clockwise once to match them up. Now that we have solved the blue cross, the edges and all, we need to solve the corners of the blue side. At this point, we don't need to worry about which way the corners are flipped. We are just trying to put them in the right spot. For example, if the red, blue, white corner is in the right spot but flipped the wrong way, don't worry about it until the last step. As for this step, we need to find a corner that is in the right position. It doesn't need to be flipped the right way, just in the right spot on the cube. And while looking at the cube with that corner piece in the upper right front corner position, like this, do this set of moves. Up, right, up inverted, left inverted, up, right inverted, up inverted, left, until all the corners are in the right spot. Once again, they don't need to be flipped the right way, just in the right spot. If you can't find one corner piece that's in the right spot, then do the same set of moves until you have one. Then repeat, looking at the cube with that corner in the upper right front position until all the corners are in the right spots on the cube. Now we need to know how to flip the corners that are in the right spot without messing up the rest of the cube. And trust me, it will look like it is getting messed up during this process. And the first couple of times you do this, you may screw up a move or two and ruin all the work you have done. It happens to everyone the first couple times they solve the Rubik's Cube. You just have to start over. But if you do everything right, it'll work. Now this is an all-in-one type thing. In other words, if you need to flip 3 corners, the cube will not solve until all 3 corners have been flipped. Some parts of the cube may look messed up during this process, but keep working. If you get done with all the upper corners, and the rest of the cube doesn't solve with just a couple of turns, then you messed up somewhere, and you have to start all over. Just remember to do the set of moves from beginning to end every time, before moving on to the next corner. With that said, start by looking at the cube from the red-yellow side again, like this. Now turn the top or upper side of the cube until a corner that needs to be flipped is in the upper right front corner, like this. Do this set of moves, right inverted, right, down, 2 to 4 times, or until that corner is flipped like this. Now turn the top or upper side of the cube to the next corner that needs to be flipped like this. While still looking at the cube from the red-yellow side, repeat the same set of moves until that corner flips. Repeat this until all the corners are solved like this, and you are done. You may need to spin a couple of pieces to fully solve the cube, like so. But it won't be hard from here on. And there you go, you have solved one of the most frustrating puzzles ever made. Do it over and over again, and it will get less and less difficult every time.